championship rivalry with Wexford goes all the way back to 1976, and he was there too when the counties last met in the championship 1981, and that was a win for Wexford. The younger stars shining from Meath now include Enda McManus, fit again to resume in the full back line, Cormac Murphy at number 6, Jimmy McGuinness at right half forward, and high-scoring Trevor Giles at left half. And back into the team, but in a new position, comes one of their most celebrated players of the past decade, Brian Stafford. For Wexford, Franny Byrne, only 20, has been confirmed as the full-forward replacement for the injured Seamus Berry. While in other changes from the team, which beat Offaly last time out, Desi Stafford is introduced at left half-back. In a defence that features brothers Porrick and John O'Gorman, Greg Waters goes out to midfield to partner long-serving John Harrington, and the half-forward line has 2 changes. The men brought in since the Offaly game are John Roach at centre-forward and Tomas Kavanagh at number 12. Referee for today's game is Pat Casserly from Westmeath, but he's actually a native of Longford. Straight away, a good attack by Wexford. Brendan Riley there for Meath, so too was Cormac Murphy, and it was the captain, Robbie O'Malley, who got it back to Martin O'Connell. So Meath have held the first Wexford attack. Meath playing upfield towards the Hill 16 end of Croke Park, having won the toss. A first touch for Callum O'Rourke. Getting inside his man, John Dunn. Clear to Cormac Murphy. Down to the strong Tommy Dow, the form player in the Meath team. Well, so many of these Meath players are in form, but Tommy Dowd really has been the talk of Gaelic football with his superb performances this season. Cutting in, Jimmy McGuinness. But in 2 minds there, and playing that one harmlessly across the face of the goal. It's actually still in play. But eventually, goalkeeper John Cooper from Adamstown, the man who saved the late penalty in the Offaly game, shepherded it wide. Wexford still to score. Trevor Giles is free, has Meath 1 up. Brendan Riley. Short to Brian Stafford. Gave a very good ball to Brendan Riley going forward. Likes to go forward, Brendan Riley. Can take a point from there. That he does, beautifully. And that's splendid reward for an enterprising run forward. Brendan Riley is a man who found it hard on and off to command a regular place on the Meath team, but he has that now, and he has a nice point too. Trevor Giles in possession for Meath. Beaten to it by young Kieran Roach, who did ever so well there. John Roach helped out Kieran Roach, and Kieran Roach plays it through, but cut out smartly by Colm Coyle. Playing the width of the pitch very well indeed. Down towards Jimmy McGuinness. Desi Stafford, the marker. Through towards Bernard Flynn, the familiar jink off the right. Jimmy McGuinness worked hard to get into that position. He needs a bit of support here. He has it from Brian Stafford, playing a roving type of game, into Bernard Flynn. Beaten to it, however, by Porrick O'Gorman. To the experienced John Dunn from Bunclody. Played through to Billy Dodd. And Franny Byrne. Franny Byrne knocking it down to Greg Waters. Very good ball played through to Nicky Darcy, the captain. Well, the goalkeeper's out. There's a goal here for Nicky Darcy, and he's got it. Very composed, Nicky Darcy. He couldn't have seen altogether what was on, because his eye was on the ball, but the goalkeeper Donald Smith was out, and Nicky Darcy finished it perfectly for the Wexford goal. Well, the ball was played through here in a position where Nicky Darcy had first run on Enda McManus. Donald Smith came to help McManus, and Darcy helped himself to the goal. Martin O'Connell drives it towards Trevor Giles, who knocked it down to Colin Brady, to Tommy Dow, with John Harrington. In support for Wexford's Kieran Roach to Trevor Giles. Going through beautifully, Trevor Giles. Very good block down by John O'Gorman. Well played, John O'Gorman, whose brother Porrick, incidentally, is playing at left full-back rather than right full-back. And this full-back line is very tight and unyielding. And there's John O'Gorman, who has made a superb start to this match on a very good player, Tommy Dowd. John Cooper. Knocked down by Colm Brady and John McDermott between them, but it's Wexford who get it back into attack. Billy Dodd keeping his eye on that one. He takes it at the second attempt. He'll go for the point, surely. That he does, and he gets it. And the long through ball is putting the Meath full back line into a lot of trouble in this game. We've had 13 minutes of play. A very good ball put in there to Billy Dodd, composed and accurate in his finishing. John Harrington for Wexford. Dessie Stafford getting it down towards Billy Dodd. Skipped around Robbie O'Malley there. Did well to stay in the field of play indeed, Billy Dodd. And did ever so well to put that over the bar from a sharp angle. That's lovely play by Wexford's noted marksman, Billy Dodd. Now, Billy Dodd had to be nimble there, but he had the pace to get clear of Robbie O'Malley, and he had the finishing. This is the first half performance that Wexford wanted against such top-class opposition. One man playing well for Meath, however, is this man, Brendan Riley. 16 minutes of play gone. To Brian Stafford. Plays a very good ball through to Jimmy McGuinness on the burst. Across to Bernard Flynn, who taps it over the bar because he knows that Meath need a point. Well, that was Meath at their best, running and supporting. Jimmy McGuinness, the pass. Bernard Flynn, the point. Tomás Kavanagh came into his own half of the field to win possession and a free. Tomás Kavanagh's drive, cut out there by Enda McManus. To Tommy Dowd. A cheer around Croke Park as Dowd leaped well for that one. To O'Rourke. To McGuinness. It just ran away from him. Flynn is calling for the pass. McGuinness is looking for O'Rourke. O'Rourke gets the connection all right, but it's gone wide. Oh, there was big danger there for Wexford as Colm O'Rourke came through on a perfectly timed run. He made the connection, but the challenge was going in and the ball went wide. Wexford still 2 up. Scott Dorn knocking that ball down, but Cormac Murphy from St. Patrick's wins it for Meath. To Enda McManus. Settling into the game now, Enda McManus. Looking for Jimmy McGuinness. Knocked down, however, by Dessie Stafford. And Pádraig O'Gorman there too. Just 20 minutes of play gone as that ball is played through there towards Tommy Dowd. He worked very hard to win it, and he got himself a free. And Tommy Dowd is having a great tussle with the Wexford fullback, John O'Gorman. Trevor Giles steps back for this one. A free won by the hard-working Tommy Dowd. Trevor Giles has already kicked one lovely free from slightly closer in, and that one too is little more than a tap over. Cormac Murphy stands his ground, a specialist type centre halfback. He was positioned beautifully there. Tommy Dowd knocks it down to Trevor Giles, bursting onto it, Trevor Giles, to Bernard Flynn. There's nobody better than Flynn in that position, but this time he's missed the goal because of a great save. Now, Trevor Giles did ever so well to spot Bernard Flynn free here in front of the goal. He turned well, he did everything right, but John Cooper did everything right too. Interestingly, Meath have also made a change where Colm O'Rourke has gone into corner forward, but down the other end of the field, it's Colm Coyle battling to relieve pressure, and he plays it through towards Colm O'Rourke. And Tommy Dowd, again, has to work very hard to shake off John O'Gorman. Now, the referee was very close there, and Tommy Dowd simply had to play it, but eventually it comes to Scott Dorn. Martin O'Connell wins it, however, for Meath. Always a figure of inspiration. Colm Coyle playing it nicely to Colm Brady in the middle of the field. Was looking for Tommy Dowd, it had run right away from him, and John O'Gorman was positioned beautifully to take that ball, but he gave it away. Brian Stafford. It hasn't run too kindly for him. Nor indeed for Colm O'Rourke, but here's Colm O'Rourke onto the left foot for a point effort, surely. He goes for it all right, and he gets it too. And none better to show a cool head in a time of potential crisis, although perhaps it's too early to be using words like crisis, but it simply hasn't been going well at all for Meath until Colm O'Rourke put over that point. Well, they're level, thanks to this effort by Colm O'Rourke. Very careful in looking up to spot the options, and eventually he decided the point was the best option to try for. Bernard Flynn giving it nicely to Brian Stafford, but Brian Stafford is off his game today. That's so untypical of Brian Stafford to miss that one. Tomás Kavanagh has first run on Martin O'Connell here. He has gone in full forward actually in a swap with Franny Byrne, and there's Franny Byrne. Looking for the point, Franny Byrne, but putting it wide, and they should be leading at half-time, and Franny Byrne knows it. It's half-time in Croke Park. They're level with Wexford on a goal and 2 points. Meath on 5 points. And in a reshuffle now, caused by the introduction of Jody Devine, Trevor Giles goes back all the way from left half forward to right half back to take the place of the substituted Colm Coyle. And as they restart, one thing Meath will be looking for in this second half is an improved performance at midfield. And already Colm Brady gets that ball forward. But once again, the Wexford defence are forced to it. And that's something that must be giving a lot of concern to the Meath camp. Well, an extraordinary move, really. Trevor Giles from left half forward to wing back. He probably won't be brought up to take the frees either, because Brian Stafford can do that. However, scores wanted now by Meath. Bernard Flynn with Colm O'Rourke in support. And once again, it's taken away from a Meath man. However, there are two of them in the middle of the field. One of them is John McDermott. John McDermott gets it through there to Brian Stafford. He's come a long way out to get that ball. He plays a very good crossfield ball to Tommy Dowd. Swiveling on there, looking for a point, but giving it to Jody Devine. Jody Devine going in. This could be sensational, and it is! Devine inside 45 seconds. This man who was so disappointed not to make the team in the first place. Would you believe it? Not a minute gone in the second half, and Jody Devine has put the ball in the Wexford net. Jody Devine, so disappointed to be left out of the Meath starting lineup for this game, was on the field for the second half. And in less than a minute, he got a sensational goal to turn it right around. But Wexford come back. And Nicky Darcy, the captain, putting it off the post. Has it gone in? Yes, it has! Wexford get the goal. Tomás Kavanagh in crowd. Well, how fortunes are fluctuating here. There's Nicky Darcy going through. Enda McManus chasing. Darcy going for the point. It dropped. Donald Smith still had a good position. In went Tomás Kavanagh, and he somehow squeezed it past Donald Smith. Colm O'Rourke down the line. Colm Brady was calling for it. It was too tight for O'Rourke to give it to him. He gave a very good ball instead to Brian Stafford. Colm O'Rourke on the burst. Gives it to Colm Brady, rather, to Tommy Dowd, to Bernard Flynn, over the bar. That's more like it now by Meath. And Flynn, as always, with deadly finishing. Colm O'Rourke was involved, Colm Brady was involved too, Tommy Dowd was involved, and he gave a good close pass to Bernard Flynn. Deadly from there as always. They're level in Croke Park. Colm Brady is much more in the game now for Meath. So too is Jimmy McGuinness, battling there with Desi Stafford. They've had a very good tussle. McGuinness wins it. Good spirit by the Meath now. Colm Brady, a big influence on the game now, to Tommy Dowd. For once, he has won that ball off John O'Gorman, and he has won himself a free as well. Kieran Roach was the man who tidied it up eventually for Wexford, but it was just too late. The free had been conceded. Well, with Trevor Giles gone all the way back to right half back, Brian Stafford takes over the free taking, and he has to help out Tommy Dowd. It's dropping in front of the goal. It's gone in, and it's a lone goal. Oh, absolute misfortune for John O'Gorman, of all people in the Wexford defence. Well, that's an incredible twist of fate for Wexford. Tommy Dowd slipped. This goal would never have gone in had Tommy Dowd not slipped. It was Stafford who played it off the post, off the hands of John O'Gorman, into the net. Goal from Meath. Now there's a sub coming in here from Meath. It's David Beggy. Great distance in that kick, but John McDermott took it very well from Meath. McDermott and Brady are playing well now at midfield. John O'Gorman comes to it for Wexford, but he loses out to Jody Devine. Turning around, giving it to Colin O'Rourke. Colin O'Rourke will go for the goal perhaps, or give it to Dowd. Dowd goes for the goal. Dowd gets it. It was given to him unselfishly, superbly, by Colin O'Rourke. But how about this for superb play by a master craftsman, Colin O'Rourke? He might have gone for it himself. He gave it instead to Dowd. 3-7 to 2-4, Meath lead. That's 6 points, but that's what the pundits were expecting, that it would be at least a 6-point margin. They've had to work very, very hard, however, for that, and indeed they're not out of the woods yet. But Trevor Giles, so versatile. Now playing at wing back in this second half. I'm sure we'll see him back in the attack in the future outings if Meath prevail here, but there's still some distance to go. We're in only the 21st minute. As Colin O'Rourke once again gets the Meath attack going, and Jimmy McGuinness is content to punch that ball over the bar to stretch the lead. Well, every Meath forward here this afternoon must sense that when O'Rourke gets the ball, there's something on, and that all you have to do is run and take a pass and you can get a score. Brendan Riley giving it to Colin Brady. Nicely back to Cormac Murphy. Colin Brady in particular has played really well in the midfield for Meath in the second half. John O'Gorman so unlucky to concede that goal in such strange circumstances, really, as the ball dropped. Desi Stafford there for Wexford. Under a bit of pressure. Has to come across his own goal. Cormac Murphy down towards Brian Stafford. This game will bring Stafford on a ton, no doubt about that, if Meath prevail. Knocked down to Colin O'Rourke in front of the goal. A great shot and an even better save by John Cooper in the Wexford goal. And Jimmy McGuinness eventually gets something out of it by putting it over the bar. Well, we'd like to boast that our man Colin O'Rourke is a very good judge when it comes to describing skillful play, and I'm sure Colin will be able to explain at some stage the brilliance there of John Cooper in the Wexford goal. Colin O'Rourke has departed the scene, content with his day's work. Sean Kelly is the man in for Meath. David Beggy playing it out to Jody Devine, who has really enjoyed himself since being recalled for the second half. And in there, high and over the bar, at long last, it's come right for Brian Stafford. It took him a long, long time to settle back into the rhythm of things. He'd been out for a long, long time with injury, of course, but now it's looking better for Brian Stafford. Jody Devine now with a nice pass out. All these Meath players timing their passes to perfection in this second half. Well, the kick out is getting to be harder work now for John Cooper, but he's still giving it everything. In the middle of the field, Greg Waters won a good ball and played it through to Tomas Kavanagh. He has had a good match for Wexford, but really the forward line isn't getting quality possession now. And even Nicky Darcy, the captain here, who got a goal early on, has to work very hard for that free. Billy Dodd with a point off a free for Wexford that I fear will be little more than consolation. And I fear also that Billy Dodd knows that. wasn't quite as prominent today, Tommy Dowd, as earlier on in the season when he gave some sensational displays. Jody Devine going through there. 3 Wexford men around him, however. He gets it back to Brian Stafford. Nobody better to snap up a point than Meath players like Stafford, Flynn and O'Rourke. Right now it was Stafford's turn. Sean Kelly. Only, however, as far as John O'Gorman, who will remember this game with mixed feelings because he played one of the best games he'd ever played, really, in his many years of service with Wexford. But, of course, there was that own goal. It wasn't his fault. It simply hit off him, and he certainly shouldn't feel too bad about it. But Colin Brady goes back there again for Meath. He certainly came into it so strong. Cormac Murphy, solid all the way through. Trevor Giles played the second half at right half-back. They're versatile, these young Lions of Meath. David Beggy on the run again. Ger Halligan with him. Beggy going for the goal and getting it. What a way to crown a return. What a way to finish a championship match. In the 35th minute of the match, the smile said it all. David Beggy is thrilled to be back, thrilled to have got the goal, and the Meath supporters all around Croke Park are thrilled as well. Well, this man David Beggy has made a super comeback. He got a lovely point earlier on, showed a lot of pace earlier on, showed a lot of pace there, and some magnificent finishing power. And it's all over in Croke Park. Meath go through on a scoreline of 4-14 to Wexford's 2-6.
The scoreline is a bit unfair to Wexford the way they played for a good 45-50 minutes of the game. We were lucky enough, we made a couple of substitutions, Sean and the boys, and Jody and David Beggy and Sean Kelly come on and really upped the pace for us, and it showed in the scoreline in the end. They done particularly well.
Wexford played particularly well in the first half. They never gave us any room at all to play up front, and I thought when the way they were playing, like, you needed just a little break or a little bit of luck. But in fair play to Wexford, like, they never gave us any room, especially Tommy Dowd there in the full forward line. Never gave him a bit of room, and I never seen Tommy played so well. You know, the Wexford full-back played pretty well.
At the end of the day, we're disappointed we didn't come out on top. We played well for 3/4 of the game, but it just goes to show that Meath are a class team, and they took their scores in the end of it. Our heads probably dropped, but yeah, we're disappointed, very disappointed.
Probably your own greatest ever display for Wexford, really, but then in the second half, that nightmarish moment.
Yeah, a big high ball came in. I'm not sure which, I think it was Brian Stafford kicked it in. I thought it was going over the bar first, and next thing somebody said John's ball, and I went to go catch it, and next thing I looked around and hit off my arm and into the back of the net. It was just one of those things, really, unfortunate or bad judgment, whatever.
We were punished, and punished savagely. We learned a bad lesson here today. You know, again, playing against a class team like Meath, if you relax or if things go wrong, you know, you have to hold your shape. We were with them for 3/4 of the game, level for 3/4 of the game. The last quarter of an hour, they just ran away from us.
For so long there today, it was anybody's game, and just we got a lucky goal, and that lucky break seemed to unsettle Wexford, and our lads seemed to settle down, and from there on, okay, Meath coasted in, but up to then it was anybody's game.
Meath taught us a good lesson today. We've played other teams and ran them closer, and not played nearly as well. We played very well today, and I would be proud of the lads the way they played for 45 minutes.
We had 10 or 11 lads that were there, and they were struggling badly, and I just couldn't seem to lift it at all. And you know, you can say you can blame Wexford, but when you see some of the lads that we had on the line to bring in, that should be all the incentive you need to lift your game and so on. So I'm very thankful to get the Leinster final again.
Well, it certainly took me the little time to get into their stride, but coming through that test comfortably enough in the end and winning their place as expected in that Leinster final. Let's take a look at the statistics from the game. There was nothing in it really in terms of wides. Meath hitting just the one more than their opponents, and I suppose you'd have to say they could afford it. 48 frees in the course of the 70 minutes, Meath conceding 4 more than Wexford. Well, after the break, we'll be talking to Mick O'Dwyer about that match, and we'll also be taking a look through some of your phone line comments, and a reminder that 016435335 is the number to ring. Still to come on the Sunday game tonight, we have Leitrim versus Galway in the Connacht football semi-final, the main scores from the Ulster hurling final, and the results of our Score of the Month competition for the month of May. Right now, though, we're going to talk to Mick O'Dwyer about Meath's Leinster semi-final win over Wexford. Mick, you're very welcome indeed to the programme. A win for Meath, as we expected, but not as impressively as we would have thought.
No, for quite a while today they struggled, especially in the first half. They looked like a team that are going through heavy training sessions at the moment, and I'd say they're building up for the Leinster final. In the first half they didn't play well at all. If Wexford had taken their chances in the first half, they would be at least 5 points in front. But if you get chances and don't take them, I suppose that was our case the day before as well. You don't deserve to win. But if they were 5 points in front coming into the break, I think they would have had a real good chance, and I think they would have put it up a little bit more to Meath in the second half.
It's all right from a Meath point of view saying that they were coasting a little bit through a game they were expected to win, but when it's all square at half time, then it cuts down your room to manoeuvre.
Yeah, but I suppose when you come to think of it, they brought in Jory Devine at half-time. I think that was a very good move, and he was no sooner on the field than he had a goal put away. And then they brought in David Beggy, who impressed me knowing today. I think he played better today than I've seen him for quite a while. Those two seemed to add plenty power and great jazz into the forward line. And from the moment they arrived on the pitch, the whole Meath team seemed to change. And we had a lot of good constructive football from Meath in the second half. Especially when they got their second goal. They really played great football from there on, and gave a demonstration of some great point kicking in the finish. So it's going to be a very interesting Leinster final.
It's a good sign to be able to bring in players like you mentioned, like Devine and like Beggy. And that first goal for Meath just after half time, let's take a look at that again, Mick, because this was a critical score for them.
Yeah, I think this was the score, I think, that changed the game for Meath. It was a great cross from Stafford there into Dowd, and Dowd gave a great pass into Jory Devine, who put the ball away very well indeed. Marvellous score, well taken score, and it was well worked, and it showed that the Meath players, when they get possession, they look for one another, and there was great finishing there by Jory Devine, great finishing.
In fairness to Wexford, they hit back quickly enough themselves. They got a goal themselves after that, so they were still very much in the game with the shout. But really, and we don't want to sort of dwell on this too much from the Wexford defenders' point of view, but this was the key score in the game, this goal.
Yes, this was the most important one there. If you can see Stafford again, he tapped it into Dowd again, and I think Stafford went for a point on this occasion. The ball dropped harmlessly in, and hard luck on John O'Gorman. It hit his arm and went straight into the net. I mean, they're the things, I suppose, they're the scores you have to get if you're to win championship games.
And a bit of luck as well.
And a little bit of luck. But it was very interesting there to see where Tommy Dowd was standing. Was he 13 metres away from Stafford when he kicked the free to him? Normally, I would say most referees would hop the ball in that instance. But it worked out for Meath, and from that moment on, Meath played marvellous football. It gave them that injection, I think, which they needed, and they went on from there and they scored points from all angles.
Sure. Well, their supporters would have enjoyed the last 15 minutes of the match anyway. One supporter, by the way, Michael Thompson, phoned in. He's from Kells, to say that the attendance was so small at Croke Park today that he hopes that the Meath County Board will remember that when tickets are being allocated for the Leinster final in a few weeks' time. You mentioned yesterday, Mick, Kildare out of the championship, and I suppose a lot of people felt when you didn't do it the first day